Hey guys, my patrons, you get to see my preview. I'm getting ready to do an interview with Calvin from Ready to Love. And so I'm going to start doing more of these kind of interviews as well. Just talk about some healthy relationship. I got this thing on my eye. That's the devil that's growing in. I have to get that cut off some kind of way. I got to see the dermatologist. And so for icebreaker, I'm going to use something called the Ungain. Oh my God, I use it with my clients a lot to develop rapport with the client, build rapport. But it actually, I have three different versions actually. Ask you different questions about personal growth history, family history, different issues. I have one for couples, the couples version. I have a family version, and I have the Christian version. So I'm trying to find what questions I want to ask him before he comes on. But welcome everybody to Cheryl's Get Your Life Back or Get Your Life Back with Cheryl podcast. I'm so glad you are tuned in. Yes, yeah, most of you know I'm a life purpose coach, mental health professional, and a whole lot of other things that I don't need to go through the list already. I'm just glad you are here. I'm so excited to interview. I saw some of the men that were on Ready to Love, and some of them had actually declared or proclaimed that they were believers and they was Christians. So I want to talk about the challenges really of like dating as a believer and then being on a show like that. It's like, wow, that's so interesting because it's like a speed dating really. Let me see if God were to make an announcement to the world. I wish it could be. Okay, I think that's a good question. Tell about something you're planning for good. That might be a good question too. Okay, those three. So I have to do that. Yeah, no, I'm Christian based. I have some other ones too. I'm going to be using everything from my other decks as well. But I said, let me just do this one and start using this as an icebreaker. I'm like, I have to think of an icebreaker. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I got my three questions for Calvin. Oh my God, what was his? You know what? The last name. Last name. Oh my goodness. Let me find. First of all, that is the right one. I'm in before he comes on at 7:00. His last name in here? Garvey. I almost forgot. I know about heart. Garvey, because I got my questions ready. So he will be my first one, I think, from the show, actually. Sure will. So I'm excited about that. He should be in the waiting room soon, guys. So you getting behind the scene footage like I promised for my patrons. Those of you who are part of the Patreon tribe, and I call it, what I call you guys? You guys are called tribe like family, something like that. So we're going to do the icebreaker. We're going to have him give a little brief history about himself. And let me see, I have an existential question for him. And then I get into the whole podcast thing. So excited about it. I got a few questions on here. Okay, Cheryl, okay. About April. She was a guest on the show. And it seemed like at the end of the reunion, because they just had two reunions, and I watched them both. Oh, Lord, drama. And so there was a young lady named April as well. She went home early in the show. So did Calvin, because he had an family emergency. But it seems like those two were connected. They connected after the show or the end of the show. I don't know when in the process. And I'm not really going to focus too much on the show, just a little bit of highlights. We're really going to get into a good conversation about relationships, healthy relationships, growth, emotional intelligence, sapiosexual, self-awareness, and all these other things I want to get into because I want to get a men's perspective. You know, we always have women. We always talk. But it's so great to hear men, just to hear their perspective and their perception of things, or how they think, how they process relationship skills. Did they learn any relationship skills? Because just like them, a lot of us have problems where we come from broken homes and a parent is missing, mother or father, and men have the same thing. And so a lot of times we can understand when it comes to women, oh, she didn't have a father to kind of show her a model, but a lot of those same men come from the same kind of broken home. They didn't have a role model anybody to show them how to be husbands, how to be dads, how to display healthy relationships. I remember one man I talked about healthy relationships, and he was like, what is a healthy relationship? And I had to really go into, and I was like, you know what, we need to talk about this. This is something that needs to be talked about. So I'm so excited about it. Okay, so I'm giving him time to get in, and I guess he does have the link. I sent it to him. I'm trying to pay attention to the whoever joined. Let me see. Okay, so he must going to join in from the email. I sure did went out and start DMing some of the cast. It's like, would you like to talk? So I have, I reached out to a couple of women, and I'm definitely interviewing one of the guests, Dominica, who was on the show as well. I'm going to interview her. We're going to have a good conversation. As a matter of fact, I should have had my tea, but I got some water here. Good conversation. Not only about the show, but the challenges. Her story resonated with me because she went through a period where it's just her raising her kids by herself, and she was young. And just hearing her, one of the interviews, how she went back to school, and while she's raising these children, and the support of her family, I believe her mom and some family members, and I can relate to that after I went through a divorce, raising my daughter, how the village helped. Now, I did have help from her dad, but there was times when he lived out of the country. But I had support, my church family, my biological family, my friends, my sister, I call them sister girlfriends, and we helped each other take care of each other's kids. If we needed a babysitter for something, emergencies, picking up each other's children from school sometimes. And so I said, girl, I got to get you on the show to share more of your story. And we just going to chop it up together and everything. So we got like 5 more minutes. Calvin's going to come on, and we're going to get into it. And guys, leave some comments, because when you see this, of course, it's pre-recorded right now, and I'm going to do some live stuff later on YouTube. But leave your comments under the video so we can continue the discussion on YouTube in the comment section. I'm just going over my show notes. Some things I know he answered on the other interview. I hate like asking people the same question. They just answer like 10 times on 10 other interviews. And so, but we'll see. They're expecting it. It's an interview. Yes, let me see. Let me put some dashes in between here. It should be coming on soon. Hopefully. Let's see, you put a line in between there, between the 7th. Yep. There we go. Now, I need to put this somewhere. Now, okay, what's the obvious? Have it down here. This is what I love about having the Patreon things, is y'all just here with me. I got my cheerleaders here with me. So, there he goes, guys. Let's go. Here comes Calvin Garvin. Let's see.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hey.
Can you see me?
Not yet.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I'm just waiting to see your face.
Okay, hold on. Maybe it's me. I apologize.
No problem. That's fine. And I know you've been busy. I'm watching the interviews. I'm trying to keep up with everybody, especially people that I like a lot on the show.
I appreciate it. A lot going on.
I know.
Yes. A lot going on.
Do you feel like a mini celebrity?
Yeah. And I'm trying to bring it. I'm trying to bring it down.
Absolutely. Okay, I got you.
I can honestly say I don't operate well in that space.
I got you.
Because I start to lose focus on trying to be the person I'm trying to be, right?
Exactly.
And growing up, I realized that when I get too much attention, I think Biggie said it best when he says, don't get high on your own supply.
Exactly. And we talked about that. That's self-awareness, just knowing where you are, where you're comfortable at, and being honest with it. And that's why I wanted to bring some men on the show more, because I want to get more of a men perspective of things. Because women, we always get together and chat it up and talk. And we was like, we wish men was in this conversation. So you seem like a good conversationalist, and I wanted to have you on the show. And we're not going to focus on the show too much. I really want to get into the topics you and I kind of discuss in the DM. But anyway, I'm so glad you are here. Cheryl's Get Your Life Back podcast. I'm going to be upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. So I want to start doing interviews just to make it more interesting again. And I like talking about healthy relationships because I'm a life purpose coach, relationship wellness coach, whatever. Fall in that category. And as a mental health professional, I'm always working with families, couples, co-parents. Oh gosh, that's that right there. Woo! I had some challenges. I'm telling you. I had some challenges, but it made me pull out my clinical skills as much as possible. So I welcome the challenge.
Yes. It's especially around this time, around mental health, as you mentioned, after COVID and people trying to adjust to this new norm, and and even though people didn't have, a lot of people may not have had COVID, but they still suffer from symptoms. Exactly. That happened through COVID.
Yes, absolutely.
Isolation, trying to be around other people, what it feels like to be, so it's like, you had COVID, didn't you?
Yeah. Right. Oh my God. You remember I had COVID a couple of months ago? I was like, oh my God, it finally got me.
Yes.
Oh my God. But speaking of what you were saying, there's a lot of couples, sadly, I made up a word, unfortunately divorced due to COVID.
Yeah. Yes.
Especially if they had some conditions that weren't favorable, in the marriage, and there was some issues already. COVID brought out a lot of stuff.
Yes.
And so now you living in a space where, at least when they was going to work or doing other things, they had some time between each other to kind of get themselves together. But now living in a space with somebody you already really have problems with, it magnified a lot of stuff. And it was so sad. The divorce rate was really up there. So, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and sometimes
closer.
And people sometimes a lot of people don't really get married for love.
Right.
It's more married for convenience.
Yeah.
And like you said, once you took away that thing that kept us together, going here, the money, the whatever, now we have to deal with each other.
Exactly.
And you have to see that person all the time, like, do I even love you?
Why are you here again?
Yeah. Exactly.
Why am I here again?
Exactly.
And then also too, love, but I can also appreciate the other families, like in other cultures where it might not be love in the beginning, but they have a strong value for marriage and commitment. They stick it out, because marriage is more about economics, generational wealth, and everything else. And so it's all about family. And this culture, as you know, our values have really, kind of gone down. And then we live in that society where we can't endure as much anymore. We ready to get out. Microwave society. This ain't working for me. This ain't, and they out of there. So I'm like, wow, God's institution of marriage that was supposed to be sacred, and understanding a lot of us didn't get the tools, about, having healthy relationships. That's why I like to talk about it and come in and kind of help when I can, because we didn't learn these things. So just like women sometimes complain about what men don't have, I'm like, those same men also grew up in broken homes like you have, to the women. So some of them don't have the skills. And then it's on the job training. Like parenting, we learning this thing. It's helpful if you have a community of people that help you, church community or other people, to being part of family enrichment groups, marriage enrichment. But the other issue is, Calvin, a lot of us today don't want, especially the next generation, we don't want people in our business telling us what to do. Instead of seen as support, it's more like mind your business. So that's a whole nother issue.
And you said it too, Cheryl, like what happens a lot of times with people is we live in this world where it's more perception. Perception holds more weight than reality. So we spend more time faking it than really working on it.
That's right.
And you're right about the commitment, and people, because you have so much options, a lot of times it's quick to be like, the temperature go up 1 more degree, I'm leaving.
I'm out.
You find any reason to leave and to step away. Like you said, growing up in a certain culture or growing up in a certain era, you couldn't leave, right? Like you had to stick it out.
You did.
And there wasn't any, social media. There wasn't anybody like in your business. There wasn't any.
Right.
It just was us. Like, and you know how it says it takes a village to raise a family. Like, people will come over and be like, listen, work on this, fix this, do this. You're right, you're wrong. Here's how we're going to make it happen. Right. Now, and I can honestly say, even as a man, I'm very careful about who I speak to, because a lot of times when I get around certain people, they'll be like, Cal, forget about her. There's another girl down there. And I'm like, yo, don't do that to me. Don't do that.
Right. It's not about that. You'll never learn to build and grow a relationship if you keep going from one to the next. You know what I'm saying? And we know people back in the days also stayed in dysfunctional relationships, which is a whole other thing, because they didn't have the resources, the community as well. So it does take a village. I don't care what old you are, how old you are, it takes a village to really help.
Yes, totally. Facts.
So look, I have some icebreakers. I don't know if you ever heard of the Ungame. You ever heard of the Ungame? You probably didn't. I use it. I know everybody goes, the Ungame. I found out about it as I got into the field and started doing family counseling. And because it's a good way to build rapport with clients, and it pull out a lot of things. So you have like deck 1, which is like the light questions, deck 2 are heavier questions, but they have a Christian version. They have a couples version, a family version I have, and there's a team version. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna use this as an icebreaker and just ask you 3 questions as well. You ready? Now this is from the Christian deck.
Okay, I love it.
Complete this sentence. If God were to make an announcement to the world tomorrow, I wish it could be that ... If he made an announcement to the world tomorrow.
Wow, that's a good one. Wow. Let's learn how to have more patience with people.
Love it. To
have more patience with people. My pastor used to always say this one line. He said, it's funny how you want people to be patient with you, but you can't be patient with them.
Exactly. One thing to keep in mind.
I needed people to be patient with me.
Gotcha. You can think back. I know that's right. All right. The next question is, joy fills hearts that are planning for good. That's Proverbs 12:20. Tell about something you are planning for good.
Wow. I am planning an event. I think I spoke to you about this. It is a forum or it's an event called King's Talk at the King's Table.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So it's about men holding themselves accountable. It's about us. A lot of times with men, we want to hold this crown about being a king, but you forget. I'm a king, but you forget with the crown. What's the saying? The head that holds the crown is heavy. So it's basically letting you know that with the crown comes the cross.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. And you have to be able. Don't be titled or entitled, and then you want the title. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Exactly. That's right.
It doesn't work that way. So I'm really talking more about men holding themselves accountable, not pointing fingers at women, not saying women did this. As men, we have to get back into that leadership role. We have to get back into that position that God put us in, right?
Yes.
And you can't ask women to follow us if we don't know where we're going.
I know that's right. I always say we need a blueprint. Like, what's your plans? Where you going? You the priest of the household. All right. What does that look like? Yes. But if you're not given a blueprint to even know how to do that, then you could be lost. Because I've spoken to people in marriages who said if their husband only had a plan or blueprint, but he's indecisive, he don't know where we're going, he doesn't have a plan, and it's hard for them to follow. Like, what am I following? What am I co-signing to? What are we doing here? Type thing. I really love that.
And lack consistency, right? Like it's important to be consistent, because if you have your queen and your queen is watching you, and how you live your life is going to show her how the relationship is going to work and how she's going to be able to follow you. So if 1 minute you're over here and you're not finishing what you're saying, and 1 minute you're confused, then how do you ask somebody to come? It's like being in traffic, right? It's like following somebody and they don't have their indicators on, dipping in and out of traffic. You like, I'm out.
Right. Yeah, I'm nervous. It's not a safe space.
Yeah.
I'm just out of here.
I'm getting off at the next exit.
Exactly. So where are you going to hold this forum at? What platform?
I'm actually going to do a podcast. I have 4 guys.
Okay.
I used to do a relationship forum in New York.
Okay.
Called The Truth. And now I want to go to the next level. So I have these two guys from New York and one gentleman here in Florida, and we're gonna actually do it together. And I'm super excited about it.
I love it. New York is my hometown. New York is my hometown. I can't wait to peep in there. I did look at some of your old footage. I went back. I said, oh, they had a podcast. Okay.
Thank you.
Love
Thank you.
Last question for this one. What biblical character are you most like and why? I thought about somebody, but I'll see what you say.
Wow. There is two people, right?
Okay.
I used to be like Moses.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I'm in you, but I can see why you would pick just thinking about Moses' journey. Okay.
Yeah, I used to be like Moses, but I am more, as I evolved in life, I gravitate more towards David.
I knew you was gonna say that. When you was talking, I said David. And when you talked about the King's Men and being prepared, they got the title. Yes. I just thought about David's journey. God had him already practicing fighting lions and the tigers and the bears. Now, you know, just fight just to protect God's sheep, preparing him for the kingdom, kingship that he had him prepared for. And I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yes, facts. And you hit it right. You hit it right on the head, Cheryl. Like, you know, and he already knew he was going to be the king, right?
Yes.
But he had to go through the process.
Yes.
Right. He had to serve. You know, he had to humble himself. You know, he had to, you know, do all the things, because even though God gave him the title, he still had to go through what he had to go through to get there. You know,
absolutely.
And you know, he made a lot of mistakes, you know.
Absolutely.
The one thing I loved about David, is that throughout all his mistakes, he always went to God to apologize.
Exactly.
Right? He always went back to say, listen, I'm wrong. And that is something that I had to learn in my life. Like, you know, so I watched him. I watched how he operates. And, you know, we say that he's the closest things to God's heart. And I'm like, David he's the man.
It's that contrite spirit, that contrite heart that says, God, I'm sorry, here I am. Don't take your Holy Spirit away from me. Knowing that he did wrong. Self-awareness, except for the time. Who came to him? Prophet Nathan? He was explaining another situation. He just totally removed himself out of the picture. Now that was funny.
Yeah.
He said, I'm talking about you. But anyway, that's not
and he paid for that too. He paid for that.
God, you still got to suffer the consequences, but God still has you. He still have a purpose for you, regardless. Because he has to make an example. If he let us get away with all of our things without any kind of, you know, there's forgiveness, there's growth, there's, you know, but he had to do that for a reason. I was like, you know.
It's like a parent that has a child, right? They'll come to you and they'll be like, I still love you, but you're still on punishment.
Exactly. I know that's right. Still on punishment.
Don't think you're going outside.
You got to learn a lesson. I need you to be an example for the people.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness. All right, let me get into my questions I have for Mr. Calvin. By the way, how's your mom? Because I remember in the show you had to leave early, and I watched the reunion again. I was like, oh God, I forgot it was that quick.
Yeah. Thank you. By the grace of God, she's doing great. She's doing really good. Her birthday's coming up next week, so I'm planning something for her.
That's
so
nice.
She's doing great.
That's good. Oh, I appreciate it. That's good. I love that. And I'm talking about the reunion. Like it was kind of a connection at the end with the Miss April. Now, did that happen after the show or right before the show ended, or when y'all started kind of talking? I guess
we was talking a lot backstage. So April and I got a chance because, you know, April got off the show early. So we got a chance to really, she filled me in with everything. We got a chance to be able to relate to a lot of stuff because during the show, me and her never got an opportunity to meet, of course. You know, so we had so much things in common, and you know, she has a great spirit. You know, April has a great spirit. You know, she's mature, and we're one of the people that were actually the same age, around the same age on the show. You know, so, you know, mid-40s.
You can relate.
Like yes. So everything was relatable, you know. So we had a really, really good conversation back there. And we spoke, you know, that's the person I actually spoke to the most backstage.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems sweet. So you don't have to get into details, but you guys are still cool friends, at least talking on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Me and April, we talk. We bounce ideas back and forth with each other. She supports me on the things that I'm doing. I support the things that she's doing. So
I love that.
It's great. It's definitely, again, she has a great spirit. So I can connect to people that are genuine, authentic, and that is her.
Okay, I love that. Yeah. So I just want to know, how challenging was it as a believer to be on a show that's like speed dating?
Yeah.
Every time I contemplated in my head, I'm like, nah, I don't think I could do that. Yeah. It's because my thing is I don't feel like getting into these negative confrontations with other women. I really felt Kayla's heart when she started crying and said she tired of, because that's always me. Like, why do we always have to be fighting? It's like people are expecting us to be catty and fight each other. And it's like, come on. I felt I was like, oh, here we go again. Yeah. The disrespect, all these things. I'm like, why can't we be emotionally regulated enough to just express our grievances, our dislikes without being disrespectful or hurting each other verbally? And I get tired of seeing it. And so when she did, I was like, girl, I felt that. Yeah. But yes, that whole experience is challenging.
You know what it is too, Dosha? When we're emotionally constipated, sometimes things come out differently, right?
It does.
And because I know I've been there, right? Yeah. Where I am arguing about something, or I take things out in a different way, and that's because maybe, my dad wasn't there, or maybe I am suffering from, like, financially, I'm not where I need to be as a man, or, things like that. So now I am arguing on the basketball court not because the guy fouled me or he missed a shot, but because I have my own things going on, right?
Right.
And Jay-Z had this, he was speaking about something I thought was very deep. And Jay-Z said, in the hood, most of the fights start with, what are you looking at? Right?
It does. I grew up in the projects. Right?
Yes, exactly.
What you looking at?
Yeah, exactly. And he said, what happens is that you have so much going on, you think that person can see you. You think they can see what's going on in your life, what's going on in your house. So you immediately react to somebody looking at you because you think they can see through you.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I can relate to that. I wasn't a fighter growing up, but I grew up in a certain environment where I was like trying to hide myself and take things out in a different way because I was emotionally constipated and I didn't know how to detox that. I didn't know where to detox that. So detoxing either meant dealing with women, right? That I knew I had no business dealing with, hanging out with the wrong people I had no business hanging out with, and just doing things that weren't progressive, doing things that weren't good for my spirit, for my soul, to help me, know. And unfortunately, the people that were around me, they were suffering from it, right? So,
in the same environment.
We all were like crackheads, right? Like
exactly.
Yeah, we all had our own addiction to something that we were suffering from, right? Yes. And none of us could help each other weave ourselves off of it. So it was a lot going on that day.
I can imagine, and I understand all of that. I actually had a client who may even watch this, just using him as an example, helping him with anxiety, little depression here and there, and he had distrust issues with a lot. And then just knowing how he grew up as well, like me, in the hood, always fighting, always watching your back. I said, you have hypervigilance going on because you grew up, and it helped him connect the dots. I said, your nervous system has been so wired for so long to be watching your back and all this stuff. So you have distrust issues. I said, and then now you have anxiety because of that. And you have everybody, you always got like your eye open, like, I wonder what's their agenda, because you live like that for so long and it's unhealthy. And I said, you can bring that into your relationship where now you having these arguments with somebody, and then he used to think about things that haven't even happened yet. I'm like, you going way down the rabbit hole. You're what you call it, when you are going, it's a cycle that happens, ruminating over something over and over and over again, because sometimes he will bring up stuff that brings on anxiety. So when we talked about relationships, he always had like, I don't know if I can he had all these problems. It's like, but you didn't give it a chance. Get to meet the person first. Start with the conversation. But I told him, I said, since the time you were a little boy, just knowing his history and things he's gone through and the trauma that he's experienced, I said, this is why you are the way you are. So it's not a judgment thing. It's just for you to be self-aware. Like, wow. He said, I never thought about it like that. I said, yeah, because can you imagine you always living on alert all the time, watching your back? No wonder you don't trust. Of course you have distrust issues because you can't trust people in the hood. You know, the people you and you always got to watch your back, or somebody backstabbing you or whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so he was like, wow, that was a revelation for him. And then that's something I said, when you go to your therapist, talk about that as well. Because I would do more of the mental health coaching, which still was therapeutic and counseling in nature. But I said, it's something that because you're doing trauma work with your therapist, it's something you should bring up as well. And I'm sure the therapist saw it already, you know, but he came to realization on his own. But it's true. You grow up in environments and you adapt certain things and you bring that into a relationship. It's like, whoa, that wasn't me. You know?
And because what ends up happening is you function in your dysfunction.
Exactly.
Right. You know, and it's hard to get away from that. It's almost like, have you ever been at somebody's desk and everything is a mess and then you try to clean it up and they can't find anything? Because they know that the paper clip is on top of the computer, or they know it's on, you know, or the staple is under the seat, you know, they know where to get it from because their mind has programmed them that things are supposed to be in a dysfunctional place, but it becomes normal. They normalize it after a while, you know, and unfortunately trying to now you have to kind of like deprogram yourself to reprogram yourself to get back into that space. But when we're all broken, you know, now you got a bunch of broken people in the same space trying to fix each other. And you're like, well, you like my pastor used to say this, a naked person can't sell you clothes, right? Right,
that's right.
You know, so it's like, how are you going to help me if you can't help yourself?
I know that's right.
It's tough. It's tough.
Wow, you speaking my language using the same word. Oh my God. All right. So, okay, here's an existential inquiry. I'm so out my creative brain.
Oh, using the big words. Wait. Sure, hold on. Let me Google. wait. No, listen.
That's an existential thing. Like, why am I here? What's my purpose? Like, you know,
I got a public school education. Do not.
I'm sure you heard of existential crisis, people trying to really figure out why they, you know. And so my inquiry is simple, because this is me as a life purpose coach asking you, what's your passion and your purpose? That's it.
Wow.
Because they could be individual, but one could be connected to the, you know, the other one.
Yeah. You know, it's really serving, right? Like I always believe that I'm just here to serve. You know, in whatever capacity that is, right? And I was literally talking to somebody the other day, and I said this to them. I said, you know, when I walk into a room, I walk in looking to add to the room.
I love it.
Whether that is my energy, right? Whether that is my picking something up, and it doesn't have to be anything big, right? You know, there's a difference between a thermostat and a thermometer. One sets the temperature and one adjusts to the temperature. So when I walk into the room, when I walk into the gym, when I walk into work, when I walk into somebody's life, I am supposed to add to that and make it better. I either add or multiply. I never think about subtracting or dividing. You know, so my spirit, when I walk someplace or I'm speaking to someone, I'm intently listening or watching and saying, how can I make this better? Or how can I help this person? You know? So for me, I use the word serving because in whatever capacity God asks me to do it, no matter what room I walk into, whether that means moving a chair, or whether that means standing up there and giving a speech. You know, whatever it is, from the highest to the lowest, I'm just always walking in there and serving. And it gives me fulfillment, to be honest with you. I love being able to have people say to me, Calvin, wow, you helped me. Or you made my life better. Or you gave me something. When I get that from them, girl, I'm like, that's always God. Yes, that's always God. It's never me.
God get the glory.
Yes. And I always feel so good because I'm like, wow. I'm happy to hear that.
I know that's right. You're like a male version of me. Did you study my podcast? Oh my God. It's almost scary. But yes, I'm always like, want to leave a mark in somebody that can't be erased, deposit something to make them better than when I first met them, and then leave them in a better place. That's always intent. And I'm always saying, I'm here to serve. Even in interviews, I had an interview the other day, and I'm just like, what's your purpose? She said, oh, why you get into this field? I said, because I know I'm called to serve. And it shows in all the capacities, from ministry, coaching, counseling, whatever. So that I'm very clear on.
Yes. I love it.
I think we all, to a degree, we supposed to be helpers of one another. But some of us got specific callings, and mandates that God has given us. And that's what we do. Is we don't even have to practice it. It's just natural for us to serve. It's second nature. You don't even think about it.
Yes. So when people ask me what I do, I'm like, I'm a customer service. I'm in customer service.
Okay. I love it. That's right.
I'm here to help. I'm here to serve a customer, in whatever capacity they need it.
Right. So I want to know, what do you do for a living?
So I work for a company. I am a contract manager. So I work in the legal field. Okay. And I work for a company that buys airline simulators, and we put them all over the world for pilots and for flight attendants to train. Okay. So we have about, I think about like 55 simulators, and they range in millions of dollars, from like $10 million. Right. So, when it comes to the legal parts of the deals, that's the transactions I'm a part of. Okay. So I've been in legal most of my life. This is the first time coming to Florida that I've ever dealt with aviation. Right. Okay. Yeah, but I love it. I love it. I love what I do. I love being able to meet new people, so there's pilots, there's flight attendants, there's people that I get a chance to meet, and it's an amazing job. And it doesn't take up a lot of my time. Oh, but that's good. Yeah. That's always good. Because in New York, I was working harder, but making less. I know, how that is in New York. Yes. Exactly. So I always tell people when they ask me, why did I move to Florida? New York helped me to survive. I came to Florida to live. Right. Oh, I love it. Right. And I'm living. Amen. Yeah, we have to shift, man. I tell you, everybody tonight they going south. Yes. That's awesome. So you're smart. It's funny. My ex-husband is an avionics engineer. Oh, wow. So I was always involved, and I missed the flying free though. All the perks that came with it, right? First class. I love it. So interesting. All right. So what do you do for leisure besides working out? Yeah. That's apparent. Yeah, I love working out. It keeps me out of trouble. I will say that. So for me, I don't really hang out a lot anymore. Because hanging out, being single in Florida, it was starting to get me in a little too much trouble. So I am, I spend a lot of time cooking. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. So I love to cook. I hear that, ladies? Now let me start. Go ahead. Okay. I spend a lot of time cooking. A lot of time I love reading, listen to audible books. So I spend a lot of time doing that. So I work a lot on this podcast. I told you that I'm working on, whatever. So that spends a lot of time, journaling. I spend a lot of time meditating, so I try to keep myself in a space where I'm not out there too much. Gotcha. Because I know when I get, remember back in the days you would play tag, right? Yeah. And then you had the pole was home base. Yes. Right? So when you get too far away from home base, things got a little bit murky. Yes. So for me, I try not to get too far away from home base. Self-awareness. I love it. Right. Because I'm like, when I get too far, I feel it. I'm like, Calvin, it's happening again. It's happening again. I got to pull your coattail. Get on back. Exactly. Right. And and then the people around me like, Calvin, go get it. Go get it. And I'm like, no, please don't bring that guy out. Don't bring that guy out. Like the little devil over here and the angel. Going on. Like yes. So and for me, it's a struggle for myself because I've been like that all my life. Right? Okay. So it's easy for me to put on that uniform. It's easy for me to go back to that person. Gotcha. Right? Okay. So I am still now, I am still making sure that I keep myself away from those temptations because I know me. Right. I know me. Like it's like working out. Like I love sweets. I love candy. Right. I have to keep it away from the house because I know me. Right. Yes. Right. Because I will be upstairs in my bed. Right. And I'll be sleeping, and it's like Pookie. It just.
Right, right. Oh my God. Yeah, you got to do stuff to keep yourself accountable. I mean,
Yes.
we got to put things into place, people into place, all of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
we're human, and
Yes.
you keep entertaining the wrong thing for too long,
Yes.
it can
Yes.
pull you in. And so you got to do what you got to do to maintain your
Yeah.
mental health, your spiritual walk,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. And as a man, I think one of our greatest strength is our discipline in everything that we do.
Yes,
To be
yes,
able
yes,
to
yes.
discipline yourself. You
And
know, what,
that's one of the things, qualities I love. I tell men that I like the discipline, because for me, I'm looking for that. Because if you're my leader, I need to see some discipline.
yes.
You can't be
Yes.
all over the place. I'm like, I can't follow you. Forget
Yes.
that.
And the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Right,
Right?
right,
So if you discipline over here, you have no excuses why you're not disciplined over here.
right. That's
You
right.
know.
And
Yeah.
I say that about when you practice celibacy, because
Yes.
that's what I do as a Christian. But anyway,
Yes. 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 Yes.
people only think about abstinence from sex, but when you
Yes.
practice celibacy, you practice discipline
Yes.
over that flesh. That
Yes.
carries over to other areas of your life. That's
Yes.
the big
Facts.
picture. You learn if
Yes.
you can discipline that flesh, because the flesh is one of the hardest things.
Good.
Oh my
Yes. Yes.
God, the desires, and that could be anything that you desire. Like you say, candy.
Yes.
It could be sexual relations with
Yeah.
people, anything, people,
Yeah.
the wrong people, wrong places.
Social
And if you
media,
learn,
anything.
yes,
Yep.
yes. So
Mhm.
you learn to discipline yourself when you practice a life of celibacy and focus, because the focus is there. You're focusing on the big picture. You focusing on the purpose, everything. And so it's way beyond just restraining from,
Yeah.
sexual
And it's
activity.
and like you said, it's like anything, right? So if you're good at disciplining with your money, right?
Right.
But then you use that same energy and you use that same
Right.
process to go over
Yes.
here. It may be harder,
Absolutely.
because certain things are a little bit harder than other things. But
Right.
we try to use that same type of mindset, that same
That's
type
right.
of, and we don't give ourselves an out. We don't give ourselves an allowance to say, well, I'm only doing it a little bit.
Right.
I'm only
Right.
doing a little, because now you got to look at that and say, well, you don't do that with your money. So why
Right.
would you do that over here with this thing?
Right.
And trying to connect the dots. It don't always happen that way, but
Right,
you have
exactly.
a foundation or something,
Exactly.
a blueprint, as you mentioned earlier, to try to bring over to this thing and try to
That's
apply
right.
it as well. So,
Amen. We're forever evolving and growing and maturing into the day of Christ.
yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, thanks.
We got to get into our relationship talk. I do want to know what motivated you to get on Ready to Love. How did that happen?
So dating out here in Florida is a little different for me,
Okay.
coming from New York. Coming from New York, it was like you had to do a partnership, right? Because you can't afford
Right.
to, like,
I got
it's
you.
hard.
I had to too. Okay.
It was hard. It was like, listen, we're gonna make this happen. This is gonna have to work.
That's like that here in Atlanta. I just moved to Atlanta. It's like, oh my God, but go ahead.
Yes, right.
Woo.
So it was different. You didn't, and I know New York has its ways, but Florida had like a perception a lot, like trying to live a certain lifestyle that
Okay.
wasn't really it. This was just my experience. I'm not saying everyone's like this.
Right.
And it was hard for me to adjust to that. Right.
Okay.
So I was hearing things that was like, women would say, like, you ain't doing nothing. Like, you're not gonna do, like, you ain't gonna do nothing. Like, you just nothing.
Right.
Like nothing. And I'm like, where do they do that at?
Right.
Right.
Oh
But
my God.
again, it must be normal behavior because it was a normal thing. So again, like I mentioned earlier, there's two type of addictions. You have the crackhead and you have the drug dealer. So you have a supply and demand.
Right. Right.
And they
Right.
both need each other.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you have the man that's going to supply that need, and you have the woman that says, well, I'm going to accept it.
Right.
So for me, I just wasn't going to accept it. I wasn't
Got
going
you.
to, I wanted a partner. I want a partner. I
You've
want
done some
someone.
work. You at another place now.
Yes, yes. When you pull up a chair, don't just
Yeah.
come with your appetite. Don't do
Right.
that.
Right. I love it.
Because for me, that is also stimulating for me. I love a woman that is a
Right.
go-getter. I love
Right.
a woman that's out there and is going to help me to a certain point that makes
Come
me
on.
be like, wow, I never thought about doing that
I
type
love
of
that.
business. I
Right.
never thought about doing that,
Right.
So if you're just sitting home watching reality shows all day, I'm like,
What else is going on your feet?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
So Leroy is sleeping with who? Like, what are we doing? Like,
Right. I know that's right.
So
Yeah.
for me, it was difficult trying to. So here came the show. They approached me. I thought it was a joke.
Everybody
I thought it was
that.
a joke. I thought somebody was trying to.
I would too. Like, what? Okay.
Yeah. So they contacted me. I didn't respond. They contacted me again. I didn't respond. And then they contacted me again. So I was like, this got to be God.
They're used to that. You thought it was God.
Yeah. You see how we try to throw God in everything, right?
Yeah, we got to Christianize it. Like, okay, it's time. So you never know when you're going to meet your partner. You never know.
Yeah, I tried to throw God in that, like the chocolate cake that I wanted earlier. Like, God called me to go get the chocolate cake. Anyway.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So I decided to join. It was way out of my, like, that's so not me. That's so not me.
I can tell.
It is so not me. And when people found out I was on a show that knows me,
right, it was like,
I'm not even gonna lie to you. They were like, Calvin, you okay? Like, they were calling me from New York, like, are you okay?
What's going on?
Yes, exactly. So for me, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. And I said, well, you know what? Let's try this.
Okay.
But so I can honestly say, even before everything transpired, when I literally was sitting in my car, and we was literally sitting in the car for maybe like almost 4 hours, right?
Wow.
Before we actually had to go in there. I tried to make every phone call I could for somebody to tell me to go home. Like, everyone.
It's funny. I picked that up in my spirit, but I did. I said, Calvin probably was going through changes. Like, do I stay? Do I go? How can?
Yes. And I'm sitting there. I'm having anxiety. I'm like,
what am I doing?
Yeah. And remember, we're going to like the pool, so I'm trying not to eat. Right? Because you want the stomach and everything to look good. And I'm sitting there like, I'm hot, I'm cold. I'm like, okay, this is what the hell? What's going on? What's going on? It's Sunday. I'm like, God, please just give me the word. Just give me the word. Just give me the word.
Oh my God. You're looking for an out. You're looking for the out.
I'm looking for anything. I'm looking for anything. So it started raining, and I was like, that's it. That was it. That was it. He did that with Noah. He did that with Noah. Like, it's time to go. Right?
Right. Oh my God.
But I didn't. I literally called and I tried to call everyone and no one picked up. Like, no one picked up the phone.
That is terrible.
I was like, what kind of friends? I need new friends.
Right. Where's everybody at?
Yeah, like, what type of support system do I got? Right?
Okay.
So no one picked up. And then right when I was getting ready to leave, I'm not even gonna lie, right when I was getting ready to leave, because they mic you up right when you get there. Right. So now, so think about this now. So you're sitting in your car, mic'd up, right? Right. I'm sitting there, I was like, I can't even listen to that music. It's like, look, it's cursing. I can probably hear it. Like, what's going on? Like, so right before I was getting ready to leave, they had said in the headset, they were like, okay, we're gonna bring Calvin in next. And then I was like, oh,
what that feels like.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is really happening. This is like really happening. Like, this is real.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I guess this is it. Like, there's no turning back now. There's no turning back. And there was a lot of anxiety. There was a lot of, a lot of stress, a lot of, like you said, it was like speed dating. Right. And for me, I like to get to know somebody. I like to be able to ask questions. I like to be able to engage in the conversation. Yes. Everything was like bang, 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 nakedness, like hot. I was like, everything was just happening so fast. And I was like, all I kept saying was like, Calvin, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Somebody call me. Like what's going on? Right? Bail me out. Right. Yes, please. I want to tap out. Right. But so it was something I wanted to do at first, but it was hard. It was a really a challenge because it was out of my element. So I always believe like things happen for a reason. I definitely believe things happen.
Even if you allow us to go the detour, there's always a lesson or something out of it we're going to get,
Yes. Yeah. And, to be honest with you, when everything unfolded and everything happened and I had to go, it really taught me a lot about myself. Okay. Right? And it really confirmed.
I was going to say that. It confirmed.
Yeah. It was like, oh no.
I said, you dodged your bullet.
Yeah.
Not disrespecting anybody else. I love a lot of people that was on the show, but just all the stuff that transpired, it's like you was taken out of it. Because it's not you. I don't even know how you would have. Yeah.
And I even with my my castmates, I gave them a lot of credit when we spoke. And I said, this was not easy. This was tough.
Gotta be mentally strong.
This was tough. So even watching, so when I went to a reunion and I watched, before everyone saw everything that was going on, like just even backstage and watching everybody going through their own emotions. Okay. I was like, I couldn't even imagine going through those. I couldn't. I wasn't. I was like, I know what I'm not built for. Right. And for them to go through that process, I only was on there for a couple hours. Right. Yeah. And I felt that anxiety. So I can't even imagine what they had to go through. Oh, yeah.
And I know someone doing therapy now, because that's a lot of, it brings up your trauma. It exposes a lot. That's not a normal situation where you're dating one person and then you see the other person that you was dating too. That's just, it's crazy. It's triggering. It's triggering.
It is. And it's funny because even before you get on the show, you have to take a psych exam.
I heard.
So you have to take a psych exam, and it was like, I said, oh, y'all should have asked me that question. Y'all didn't ask me that question. Y'all should have asked me that. Stop asking me about peanut butter sandwiches. Ask me about that.
Right, exactly. So I can make a real informed decision if I really want to be on it.
Exactly. So I couldn't even put myself in their shoes, to be honest with you. Even when I went to the reunion and we was there for, I think everything probably started at 10 o'clock in the morning and wasn't over until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I can't be an actor either. I can't be an actor. I can't do this. I can't do this.
It's a lot of prep. I did some background work and just sitting for hours until our little scene come up. You get all these hours, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. All right, go upstairs, do your little part. It's over real quick.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Exactly. And remember, we're mic'd. We're mic'd the whole time we're in there.
Oh Lord, yes.
And I have to keep telling myself, Calvin, don't say right. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't be reckless.
That's my self-talk coming. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm trying to, now that you were able to become friends, because one of my questions was going to be, if you stayed on the show, who you feel you would have connected with?
Yeah, April was cool. April was cool. She was somebody, so I got a chance to meet her, again at the reunion. So everyone was cool. It's hard to say that because the dynamic would have been a little bit different for me. My coach would have been a little bit different for me.
Okay.
It would have been hard for me to honestly, I know what the show is about and I understand that but for me to date someone or go out on a date with somebody and see them go out on a date with somebody else.
It would have been a little too, especially after you connect with somebody.
I'm like, they bought you what?
I don't want them to connect.
Yeah. You had shrimps with me today, and then you had lobster with them tomorrow. Like I know, I understand what it is.
Yeah, you have to go with a different mindset. You really do. And then you probably have to adjust your mindset while you're actually going through the whole experience, because it's new. Yes. It's like, oh my God, okay, we gotta go through this. We gotta meet different people and see,
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So my other question is, have you gained more clarity about the type of woman you want during or after your past relationships? And I'm sure you have. Yes. But where you are today, I know you're definitely aware of what kind of value and what kind of mindset and, that you want that partner you talk about, so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, one of the things that I realized from my past relationship is very important that my queen protects me, right?
That's right.
I am a protector, right?
Right.
I am a protector naturally as a man. I grew up without my dad, and it was just me and my moms, and I'm very close to my moms. And just starting with my moms, even as a little kid, I was always a protector.
Okay, right.
Trying to carry the bags, trying to pay. And you know how a little boy be at the register, and you ask for the money so you can pay for it, even though it's not your money. Like,
right. Okay.
That was always me. So I grew up being that person, always wanting to protect my mom. And, protecting as a little kid for me meant doing the dishes or doing laundry or, or fixing something. And as I grew as a man, I had to learn what that meant as being a man.
Right.
Right. Now, from my past relationship, protecting me not just from other people, but sometimes even from myself.
Absolutely.
You know, because I am still progressing or trying to progress into a certain person. And I know sometimes that I could get to a certain place where I need that person to say, babes, that ain't good. Don't do that. You know, here is go to the doctor, right? You know, as especially as Black men, right? Being that person that's like, you know, and even because I know me, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go. But her being accountability, I set an appointment. She's like, oh yeah, on Wednesday, forget the gym.
Accountability. Yes. Exactly.
You know, we skip in the gym, we go in there, right? And then somebody that again protects me from myself, but also loyalty means everything for me. Everything to me, you know. So for me, someone that I know will protect me, and it's us. I don't need you to be a ride or die. Don't die with me. Just ride with me. Don't die with me. If I'm out there and I want to say something stupid, just be like, baby, come on.
Yes. Bring it back in. That's right.
Yeah. We got way too much to lose for you to be out here. And I'm not that guy, but you know, we all have those triggers. We all have those things sometimes where something can happen. So, you know, just that person that can be in that space of protecting me from me and being loyal, and it's us. You know, it's us. You know, and I find that, you know, a lot of times people come into relationships. I don't believe in 50-50. I believe in 100-100. Right? Like we come in there together.
That's right.
Right. And what's yours is mine, and what's mine is yours, and we doing this together.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think I see too many things and I meet too many people where it's like we're separated, but we're together. And I'm like, I don't get that. I don't know what that means.
Right. What is that? Right. Yeah.
You know, so for me, growing up with just my moms, you know, for us, it was us. Like, listen, we doing this together. We cooking Thanksgiving together. We, you know, if I'm ironing clothes, I'm ironing her clothes, right?
Okay.
You know, that's right. Dishes in the sink, I'm washing all the dishes, right? Like that's what it is, you know. So that's one thing that I realized that from my past relationship, that protecting me is very important, because I never want to feel like it's me against the world. I never want to feel that. I will go out there and I will fight for my family. I will fight for the people close to me. But when I walk through that door, I need to be able to put down my armor, my shield, you know, and my cape, and it's us.
Amen. That's right.
It's us, you know. So that's what I realized I needed from my past relationship.
Okay.
Well, moving forward, I should say.
That's good. I like that you are open to that, because a lot of men are not there yet where they can take support really from their wife or loved one or whatever, you know, whatever the relationship is they're close to that and they don't want to grow and learn it. And again, I think it's our perception. If you see that loved one or that spouse as a support, you know, she's suitable, she's fit. God gave that woman to you. She's there to help you. Because if you're secure about the relationship, you know the person's heart. You know they love you. You don't have the distrust issues. You can receive that help because they're going to come from a place of love, number one. And you want that. You want that accountability. Even if the person giving you nerves sometimes, but at the same time, you embrace it because like you said, it's to make you a better person, it's to grow. And it's reciprocal. You're doing the same, protecting, looking out for you, for our household, all of that stuff. And so it's refreshing to hear you say that. You sound like the ideal, you know, a lot of women like me are looking for, basically, because that's what we're looking for. Being a leader also means you can serve. But a lot of times men miss it. They want to lord over something because they haven't learned that's why I like the example of Jesus washing the disciples' feet. Because he also served them and he was also their leader at the same time. So I guess you call like a servant leader, democratic type of leader, where you can also, you also play a support role to people that are following you, but you can also receive from the people who are following you. It's reciprocated. It makes you a better leader. You're humble. You know, you're humble, you're submissive as well. I do believe the scripture that says in both of them submit to each other. The women and the wife submit to each other as well. It's not just women submit to your husbands. It's like, okay, what about the other part in Ephesians? Wife and husband submit to one another.
Yes. And that's why she's your helpmeet. right?
Exactly.
Help me. Like she helps you as well as you help her to be like, this is what we're here for. We're here to help each other be better people, right? We're supposed to be, I'm your +1 and you're my +1. When we go somewhere, that's what we're called, right? You're +1. You know, so it's important. What makes Obama so great, and I love when Obama speaks, because he talks about Michelle so much. He's like, I can't be president because I can't be as great as I am unless Michelle is taking care of the kids and taking care of the home. He says, I am this person because of her.
Right. And I'm sure he saw that in her as he got to know her.
Yes.
There was a quality that she had, and he was like, this is good for me.
Yes.
This is good for me. This is what I need.
Yes.
And I love that, because I was going to bring up that example of being with the person you can make you better, to grow. And you do that for one another. That's so important. Oh my goodness. And so you remember we talked about the subject of a person that you can build with, but not only build with when it comes to intellect and understanding each other, having a certain level of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And I was saying to you, that's one of the things I look for. I need to be able to connect with you because I'm a mental person.
Yes.
Not in a crazy way. But I connect with a person on a mental level. I need to be able to have a good conversation with you.
Yes.
Be able to go out into the water sometimes and launch out into the deep sometimes.
Yes.
I can easily stay on the surface sometimes, have fun, light conversations, but I want to know that when it's time, how you think about things, how you process stuff. Like, what's your thought about this? And so if I meet somebody who can't really carry on a conversation, or they have no depth to them, I'll start to I realize I've learned in my journey, that's not good for me. I'll blank out. I like to be able to learn from the person I'm with and vice versa. I want to admire the person I'm with and vice versa. And a lot of times I'll meet the person or man who admire or feel that way about me, but sometimes I don't get that from them. And it's like, I disconnect. I can't. So I understand me. I am what you call maybe borderline sapiosexual.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
I'm stimulated by intellect. And you don't have to be academic or smart or went to college. My dad never went to college, but he was always a smart student from what he tells me. My mom tells me, my aunts tell me. He read so many books. My mother said he was real good at Jeopardy. He can answer. I don't know. I'm pretty good at Jeopardy. All that history stuff, I would look dumb. I was like, oh, no, I don't got that. And so he was brilliant, but it caused me to realize, wow, my dad likes that. They say sometimes daughters marry their dad sometime. And I realized, because even my ex-husband, very brilliant, engineer avionics, I'm attracted to that. That's who I am. And it gave me the revelation. I can't be with someone that I feel like I have to dummy down. And we all can be smart in different areas. But if I have to keep dumbing down and tippy-toeing, I can't have these deep conversations. It won't work. It just won't work.
I always say, I don't need you to be sexy without no substance. Right? Because, my pastor used to always say this, right? He used to say this in church. He'd be like, an orgasm could only last but a minute.
Okay.
Right? He said, but now you got to sit there and lay with them and have a conversation.
That's what I said. You see what I'm saying?
He said, so now what happens? Do you get up and leave? He says that's where you find out how really you're attracted to somebody. If you have a connection with somebody. He said it's easy to have that physical because you're going into it and you're doing all of this. He said, but that only lasts a few minutes. What happens now when we have to lay here at night and have to wake up to you? And you're 100% right. Like when it's not until you meet someone that you have that conversation with them and you're talking to them and you're like, damn, boy, the way you use your words.
Right, exactly.
And then and so it because you'll give them that look and they'll be like, what you looking at? You'll be like, nothing. Just looking at you.
I'm attuned.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something about it, like you said, they allow you to think at another level. They'll upgrade you. They'll make you think higher than you normally think, right?
Exactly.
And I always call it a spotter. Right? Like it's like going to the gym, right? Someone that is standing over you, telling you, yo, give me 3, give me 4, give me 5 more, and normally you wouldn't even try to lift that on your own. But you have somebody standing over you, letting you know, I got you. Don't you worry about that. And it makes you feel better. It makes you want to go to that next level. It makes you put more weights on there because you like, oh, you got me? I
Right.
got you.
Right.
You know,
You're right.
so we all need that spotter.
You're right. And I met men like that, some, and they get that from me, but sometimes, and it was a whole lot, might have been two. I didn't get that from them. They forever like, oh my God, I love talking. I could talk to you all day. I'm learning so much. You got me going to Google. You got
yeah.
But it's like, I want that back.
yeah. Like you said, reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
And I always say, you know what somebody likes, but what they give you.
Exactly. You got all these wonderful sayings. I could tell you've been doing some work and reading and just learning in life, but you have to be a person who's insightful, and that's a good thing. You know, emotional intelligent, you're aware, you know, all that stuff. It means so you still, we always growing. This let's keep growing.
Yeah. You're right.
Oh my gosh. Let's see, what else did I have for you? We almost done, really. But okay, so that whole experience is, what is the lesson that you learned from Ready to Love, really? I know you talked about some things you learned about yourself, but what came out?
I always try to, no matter what it is, no matter what the situation is, I always try to take something from it. You know, whether I'm wrong, whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, I always try to learn something from it.
Right.
And I'm in preparation mode. And what God told me is, you ain't ready yet.
Okay.
You ain't ready yet.
Interesting.
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
You know, but all I know is that I'm still in preparation mode.
I was going to say, I hear you say that. It's like you're kind
I'm
of
in
aware
preparation
of that.
mode. And sometimes in order to prepare, you have to isolate yourself. I always say I'm in a season of preparation and separation. Right.
Gotcha.
You know, so I'm in that place where, and sometimes maybe one day I'll just wake up one day and I'll be like, I got it.
Yes.
I got it.
Right.
So I asked God to prepare me for my queen. So he's preparing me for my queen right now.
That's right.
God always reminds me that I'm not preparing the blessing. I'm not preparing the blessing for you. I'm preparing you for the blessing.
Amen. Right.
You know, so for me at this point, I can't tell you the things I thought I was sharp at. I was like, oh yeah, bring it on. Bring it on. I got it. And then God is like, okay.
Okay. Oh my God.
We'll see if you got it. You know,
I know that's right.
You know, for the person you used to have, you got it. But for the person you want, you're gonna have to do a little bit more.
Right. Exactly.
You know? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I can honestly tell you, I don't really know what that thing is.
He'll reveal it. Yeah.
You know, and that's really what it is. Like I'm always constantly, you know, asking God, like, reveal it to me when it's time. Or prepare me for it, though.
Right.
You know,
prepare
me for it. You know, so at this point in my life, at this current moment, what it taught me is that I'm still in preparation mode. Don't take that cake out of the oven yet. It ain't done.
Right. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I often talk about the honeymoon stage when you meet somebody, and a lot of times we get that confused. I just posted something the other day. We confuse that with falling in love, and because. And a lot of, you know, and I had to learn this too, you know, growing up and going to school and learning about all the different hormones and neurotransmitters and the dopamine and how your brain, we call it psychology, your brain is drunk, it's high on releasing all of these hormones, these feel-good hormones. So you just think you're in love, you're like, oh, you get all the dream. But as we talk about, these relationships have to go through some tests to really see what's beyond that. That's all fine if you don't confuse it, because I believe a lot of us got married in the honeymoon stage because they just felt like, oh, this is it. But if you're always engaging in activities that feel good and you don't go through any trials and any tests, when you actually see the real person, you're like, oh my God, it's like, why you didn't? I know when I do a lot of work with couples, I'm like, you guys didn't have this discussion, or you didn't, all they was doing was whining and dining. I'm like, you're forever releasing those endorphins that make you feel good. You haven't watched each other respond to situations, stressful situations. Do you kick the dog, slap the cat, beat the wife when something happens? Or do you know how to be emotionally regulated, where we can sit and we can talk, we can have a little progress meeting, do a check-in, how you doing, what's good, how you know, all of that. It's like they didn't do a lot of the work. Some of them didn't know, some of them did. Just like some couples, I said, no, you're not going to do everything I told you to do, but I'll give as much as possible. I'm even giving some worksheets. You can have something to refer to. When you guys have this situation again, you have new tools now, but a lot of us, we're not used to doing the work. You know, we, like you said, we program and wired one way. The discipline is not there to put in the work and practice it. It's like we practice the word of God every day. We practice the word every day, because we're not perfect. When situations come, and we still gonna make mistakes, but we have a foundation. I got to go back to the word, because you have it there. It's go back to it. And we don't do the work. And it's like, oh my God, but I see that all of the time. And I'm like, no, let's get to meet the person in some different seasons and see how they respond. And and then you need to see that person also in different environments. Because I remember one particular man this years ago, he seemed real cool as my neighbor, conversations, but I purposely, because I'm very intentional about doing stuff, I purposely invited him with me to some friends who was having a holiday dinner. I wanted to see how he interacted with my community, and I want to see him in his community. And a whole nother side came out, Calvin. I was like, whoa. He started talking about stuff I didn't think, like, he started, I realized he get high, he'd smoke marijuana. It's just things I didn't know. And like, I wasn't dating him. He was a neighbor. He liked me, he was attracted to me. We had like, and he went to the same church, you know, and so we would have passing conversations. But one time we just started talking for a minute. I said, oh, he seemed kind of cool. But I said, let me get into his head a minute. And so I said, you know, my friends are having a dinner. Would you like to come with me? And I was like, and even my friends are like, this ain't gonna work. Cause I saw like a little boy. I can't even explain. It was a whole nother.
No, trust me, I get it.
Why you got to do this. You got to see people in different environments, different seasons, so you can see how they act and respond. I was like, oh no, we wouldn't work at all. At all.
So trust me, I've met people. I've met people where I'm like, you know, exactly what you said. Like, I'm a person that, you know, I have a degree in psychology, right? So sometimes, so sometimes I'll use it and apply it, right, through the back door. I won't psychoanalyze somebody, I'll come through the back door with it, and I'm like, you know, I want to see, like you said, how they act, how they're around certain environments, right? Like, how we complement each other, right? You know, when you walk into the room, are you looking to do the same thing that I'm doing, right? You know, like how do we move? Because we have to, our morals and our values and our energy has to align, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm an energy person, right? I'm an energy person. I can see, I can feel it right immediately.
Because you're an empath like me. You're an empath. Empathic.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So for me, I'm like, something don't feel right. Something don't feel right. It's not connecting. It's like, and it's funny. It's like, remember back in the days, you know, people still have it now, but on the fridge, you have like the magnets, right? Yes. And then you take the two magnets off the fridge and you try to put them together, and they don't, and this and that, and that's okay. But we have a foundation, which is the fridge. Exactly. And the fridge is the foundation. But if we don't have nothing to connect to, right? Then we all over, we get.
You can't be trying to make it fit. A lot of people trying to make it don't fit.
Yes.
Because you might have an attraction, but you really don't fit. How long is that going to last?
Yes.
When you go through some storms.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been married before. You're not going to be having sex 24/7, 365 days a week. That's just not reality. Got to be something deeper there. Like you said, those conversations, even if you don't have sexual relations with your spouse, you still friends, you still have a relationship, you still can talk and build together and all of that, brainstorm.
And I believe in, I always say this, right? Like, especially at this point in my life, I believe in intimacy, right? More than I believe in sex, right?
Absolutely.
In the sense of saying intimacy can go to could be a broad, like, conversation, right? You know, just non-conversation, right? Just our energy sitting there together, right? Like reading something together, watching a movie together, cooking together, you know, that intimacy where you're looking at your partner and you like, you know, I love you, right? You're like, where did that come from? You're like, no, I just wanted to tell you I love you.
Yes, especially as you get older, that's what you want. You want intimacy. I always say that too.
Yes.
Wow, I enjoyed this interview. I knew it was gonna be good. I resonated with, you know, you see people on certain interviews. I saw you in the set. I was like, oh my God, I'm trying to do an interview with, why did her name, Dominica, yes. I heard her story on an interview. We have some things in common, especially her raising her children. I mean, I raised my one daughter after my divorce, even though her dad was involved, but he lived out of the States a lot of times. And so it still felt like a single, but just her story of going back to school and everything. I did that. I dropped out in 10th grade. I started from the GED all the way up. And it's like, wow, just looking back, sometimes you can't even believe what God bring you through. It's like a dream. Oh, I did that.
So I literally was talking to somebody the other day, because they were like, I said I didn't graduate from high school, and they were like, "How are you did?" I said I was in there for 4 years and got one credit. One credit.
We can laugh now, but now.
You know, and
Oh
the
my
principal,
God.
the principal called me and my homeboy in the office, and I was like, I'm in trouble again. He said, no, you ain't gonna graduate. You might as well leave.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I was like, what am I gonna do now? Like, what am I supposed to do now?
Right.
Like,
What you been doing?
yeah, he said, that's exactly what he said. He said,
Really?
what
I
you been
figured
doing?
you
It's
would,
not
yeah.
like you wanted
Something
to do this
sarcastic.
anyway.
Right.
And exactly what you said. I took my GED, then went to business school, you know, so like you said, when I look
Right.
back now at my life, I know
Right.
it's all God, of course, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because I've
Strength
watched
to do
people, we're in the same path and we're going down the same place, and God
Right.
had me going straight and they went crooked and things happened to them, right?
Right.
So it's not like I was doing anything different than they was. That's how I know it was God. Right?
Right.
Because
There you
he
go.
let me know that I got a purpose for you. I got something for you. So I'm saving you
That's
for
right.
something that I have intentionally for you.
Amen.
But you have to stay obedient, and you
You
have
do.
to make sure that you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Because, you know, like you said, how we spoke about David, yeah, you go mess with Bathsheba if you want to. Right?
Okay.
You
Right.
go do things that you know you ain't supposed to.
That's
and
right.
the consequences are going to be a lot harder to
Still
come
got to
back.
deal. Yes.
You know, and things like
Right.
that. So certain things, like you said, I don't put my hands on it. But going back to you and Dominica, I think you guys are going to have a great interview because you guys have the same energy, right?
Okay. Okay.
You guys have the
Okay.
same energy, real cool,
Right.
real just chill, real
Okay.
like happy and joyful and stuff
Right.
like that. So I'm gonna look forward to that interview,
I
watching
will.
that, because
I want to speak
that's
to
gonna be fun.
Trinika too. I heard
Oh
Trinika
yeah,
talk about her
Shanika,
faith. I was like,
yes,
okay.
Shanika's amazing. Shanika's
Because I
amazing.
really
Yes,
want to
yes,
get that whole feel as a believer, like it's the
yes.
challenges and your values and all of that. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
like I
Yes,
said,
yes.
I imagine myself on the show, but I was like, nah,
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, it's different. It's different.
I said, I won't say 100% I would never, but I don't think I would.
Yeah.
But
That'll
I
be
do
the
want to
last.
know
That'll be the last one I do.
okay. No more reality. Not
No.
that kind. What if you
No,
come
no.
on as I always say I would do it if they brought me on as a life coach, but in a respectful
said that.
reality show, not the type that's real drama and they fighting each other. And I probably
Yeah.
not too many shows like that because I don't
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
all the other ones. I like Ready to Love because I'm, like you, that psychological experiment. I want to see how people connect in different situations. And I love love. I love to see people connect. I am a fan of Married at First Sight. I like that show too. Because when I first saw, I was like, man, at first sight, the devil is a. But in other cultures, again, my earring came off. In other cultures, there's arranged marriages.
Yes.
And so, and like we said earlier on, in a lot of other cultures, marriage is so valued. I wanted to see how people can connect. It may not have started out in love, but they learn to love each other and build from there. And I like to watch like foreign films as well, like films from India and different places where they were in arranged marriage, but they grew to love each other and respect. And they value marriage so much, and children and family. So again, economics played a big part, just securing the family financially and every other area. It's just I like to learn from other cultures
And it's funny going back to what you're saying about arranged marriages. Even when I tell people I moved out here to Florida with no job, no nothing, right? No place
Stepped
to
out on
live.
faith?
And that's exactly it, right?
Okay.
I said, listen, I put myself in a position where I can't go back, right? It had to work. It had to work.
Right.
I remember 50 Cent being interviewed on his first album, Get Rich or Die Trying. I remember the interviewer asking him a question, and she said to him, that was a powerful title. How did you know it was going to work? What was the plan B? He said, did you not hear the title? There was no plan B. This was going to work.
Right. Right. That's right.
And when I always remember that to say this was going to work.
Right.
God told me to come out here, which means now I got to work harder.
Absolutely. That's
to make this work. So exactly what you said about like planned marriages, sometimes they probably come into that mentality like, we're going to make this work.
Yeah, that's it. We are.
We're going to make this work. We're going to compromise. We're going to do the things that marriages take. Compromise, sacrifice, right? Commitment.
Yes, exactly.
So sometimes you have to be put into that space in order for things to work. So
I know that's right. Well, look, before you go, tell everybody where they can find you at on social media or anywhere.
You can find me on Instagram, Calvin_King_Garvey. I'm also on Facebook. It is Calvin Garvin. And I am coming out with a page. I'm actually putting it together. It's there now.
Awesome.
King's Talk at the King's Table.
Okay.
So it is going to come out very soon. So those are the things I'm working on right now.
Okay. And what's that? Did you mention a YouTube handle? Because that's where your podcast, you'll show your podcast sometime?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is The Truth. So it's my forums. Yeah. So it's DA Truth that I actually did a lot of shows. So you're going to see when you go on there, you'll see a lot of the episodes, the things that we did. Great shows, great conversation.
Okay.
We are evolving.
I love it.
We are transitioning to something as men and women. And I used to always say this at the forum. I used to always say, it isn't about who's right or wrong. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And we need to walk out of here. You know, at the end of the show, Cheryl, I used to always do something and it used to go across so well. I used to always ask the men to say something good about the women and then ask the women to say something good about the men.
I love it. I love it.
You know, so we can walk out of here with good energy and compliments and words of affirmation, letting you know that you're doing great as a woman. And you're doing great as a man. And we're not perfect, but we're about progression.
That's right.
And I believe in that.
It. I'm gonna throw a handkerchief at you in church, like in church, because I do that with. I had a teen mentoring group called a Goddaughters Workshop, and women and men. I mean, women and children. I mean, teen girls, right? But one of the things I said I want to continue to do is have them point out, or highlight what positive traits they see in each other. Even at women's retreats, I want to do that more because we got to do more of that than tearing each other down. So when you said that, I was like, I know exactly what that does, and build each other up. It's like saying, I see you. And like, I want to be intentional, like have them sit at round tables and really talk, have a conversation. What, after spending some time together, what do you see in each other? Because another woman may need to hear that. You just never know. Because people, again, the existential question, I don't know my purpose. I don't know why I'm here. And I always tell people there's a theme that follows you, whether you see it or not. People can see it, you know, and you never know. And so one of the assignments is asking people around you what permeates out of your spirit when you're around them. And you hear something that's consistent. And that's like, wow, that's part of your makeup. It's a strength you have. I love that.
No, you're 100% right. And you said it too. So sometimes it's conversation, right? And sometimes as men and women, we're not having that conversation, right? We're talking. So I used to do a segment that I used to love, right? And the segment was called, "This is what I said, now tell me what you heard."
I love it. Yeah, that's psychology. Go ahead.
Because sometimes what happens when you're so used to getting beat down from even that person that you're with, when they even say something good, you probably don't hear it, right? You know, so sometimes you have to let this person know, like, listen, this is what I heard. And then now you can come back with that and say, well, listen, I'm sorry if it came across that way, but here's what I meant to say. Here's what I'm trying to say to you. And now we're having a different dialogue. We're having a different conversation, man. And as men and women, and like you said it, we it's time that we stop. We don't need to be in a relationship romantically, but we have to stop breaking each other down and building each other up, man. That's
absolutely,
like, you know, we all come back, we all come from broken pieces. You know what I mean? But we have to put those pieces back together and make it better so we can be at peace with our broken pieces.
That's right. I love it. That's right. All right. He's like, man, I'm use that. I'm good at giving people titles. That's a book. Anybody caught that? I love it. Oh my God. We could talk forever and ever and ever. But anyway, I appreciate you coming on the show. I'm trying to grow this whole thing too as well. And
you're doing an amazing job. Amazing job.
Thank you.
Amazing job.
And I'm doing so much by myself. I'm like, I gotta bring some more guests on here. But life, like me moving to Atlanta, getting settled, had a bad car accident, had to heal from that. So all these little things, thank God I'm still here, me and my daughter. And so it's like, you know what? I don't worry about what other people doing at my own pace. When it's time, I will regroup and just keep on going. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yes. Okay? God got you. God got you. So you know the song by DJ Khaled, God did.
Yes. God absolutely. Did. Yes. Okay, you hold on, don't go anywhere. But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, if you got some questions, because we can continue a lot of this conversation. I can respond to some of your questions, your commentaries that's related to the topics and the things that we talk about. Because as I always say, I like to continue the conversation. I want us to talk. You know, there's a reason why I got in trouble in school for talking all of the time. And I thank God that he showed me, because it was a gift. And so I'm using it, okay? But anyway, thank you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share this with people that you know who needs to hear this. I know somebody needs to hear what we said, because there's always somebody that can resonate or somebody that can learn something. And I hope things that we share is something that you can deposit in your own life, so you can better yourself, so you can grow, and so you can learn and be honest. We talked about so many things, from self-awareness to emotional intelligence to emotional wellness and effective communication, and being insightful and being humble, like being able to say, wow, I need to work on me. And that's what I appreciate about Calvin. He was very honest about the work that he has done and what God is still doing in his life. And to me, even if you don't have everything right, when you meet that person and you're honest like that, that attracts people. Because they're like, wow, you real, you honest. And it helps other people to be free. When you are free and walking in your liberty, you cause other people to feel like, wow, I can let my hair down or whatever, because you just gave me a safe space where I can be myself as well. And that's what I love about this podcast, Get Your Life Back. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Until we meet again, be blessed. Yes.